guys, what's going on? It's Erika Cruz, live on the Mental Health Coalition handle. I am going to wait for some of y'all to come on board. I have an amazing guest today. She'll be on in just a second. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you will see actors, entrepreneurs, influencers, thought leaders, athletes getting real every day in May, right here. 31 days, 31 conversations that are sharing trials, not just the smiles. We see that on our feeds all the time. But the reality is, being a human being isn't just the rah-rah. It's also some of the hard times, the struggles, and the mental health. So super excited to be a part of this project. This series is called 121. It is a conversation because everyone needs to talk to someone. Conversation, getting it all out. How are y'all today? Hello. So good to see you. So I really am passionate about making sure that the realness is dropped, not just the bloggable brunch flat lays on Instagram, but really realizing that the people you're looking up to are going through the same trials and tribulations as every other human being. We're made of the same machinery, and the things that we encounter every single day make up the human experience. So the same way you go to the gym, you work on your physical fitness, and you see the results in your body, the same way you can work out your mind. You can watch things like this. You can talk to other people. You can learn constructive ways to cope with that mental health conversation, and you can see the results in your reality. So perfect. We have our guest here. Yo, girl, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm ready to get some necessary realness on.
This is going to be so good. Great conversation. I think both of our brands represent this conversation. I think it's super imperative to this generation, to the people that follow us, and to what's going on right now in the world. I think people are talking about mental health a little more, but I think we need to do it much more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that you're here with me today. So for everyone, you probably already know who you're watching. But comedian, entrepreneur, fellow manifestation.
Yeah.
And I think we both get a rap for like positivity queens.
Yeah.
And sometimes what people see out in the world, it's so positive and uplifting and inspiring. But sometimes there's an authenticity piece that makes it even more inspiring. So because people know that we're going through the same things, little stuff, darkness, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be, that's just being human. That's not.
It's just normal. And, we happen to be public figures. So our problems, our struggles, our happiness, our all of that just happens to be on a platform. But we all go through the same things, whether you have 1 million followers and you're in the public eye, or whether you're not on social media. We all go through the same trials and different things. Everything is up and down. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, but you have to remember the dark moments and the stressful moments and the sadness and the depression, the anxiety, all of that is temporary. It's temporary. And what you do to work through it and how you cope with it is what's important.
Yeah, I think that when you're in it, you feel like it's doomsday. It's never going to end, is a lot of the feedback I get from even my community that I work with. And so with that, I think it's helpful to hear about specific times where we may have gone through something like this. You want to drop a little story bomb, or maybe
oh my God,
that you were feeling a little bit down and out?
I happened to go through this publicly. Last year, I went through I was canceled literally, I don't know how many times, over 1 million times on social media, when it was that just phase of, people going through COVID and upset about certain things. And so many celebrities were canceled last year, but I happen to be one of them. And for the first time in my career, people question my character. It's okay. People say, oh, you're not funny. Oh, you're not cute. Oh, she looks ugly without makeup. I can get past all that stuff. I know
haters, they're standard.
That stuff doesn't matter. But when people question my character, that is what crushed me to my core, especially when I know I have every intention on being pure and I stand by what I say. I'm very transparent. I'm very vulnerable. And I take pride in who I am. I believe I'm a good person, you know, and I try to be, and then, you know, your character is questioned on a public, huge platform. That is scary. And that, you know, that was a very hard time for me, a very, very hard time for me. But, you know, you have no choice but to, you either fight, you know, or you sit in that darkness. You know, you have no choice but to fight. That's why I always say faith over fear. Like, you have to have more faith than fear. You know, they can't coexist. You have to choose fear or you're going to have faith. And in those moments, you have to choose to have faith and fight through it because it's only temporary. Just like, you know, some days you wake up, other days you wake up, it's temporary, you know, so it's not ever.
Yeah, there's like an honoring of how you feel about you. And for so long, I think me specifically, I've always prized what other people think of me because that was telling me that I was doing okay, that my life was moving forward. And when you get to a crossroads where opinions change, that is when you have to access, what do I think of me? Do I love me? Do I know what I believe in? Who am I to me? So
Yeah.
did you go inward? Did you talk to people? Did you share publicly about what was going on? Like, how did
I talk to people that I loved around me, you know, but you have to understand that I understood in that moment, it was such a learning lesson that humans are so episodic. One day they love you, one day they hate you. One day you're cute, the next day. You cannot put your faith and your self-worth in the hands of another human. That is so, like you said, what do I think about me? What do I feel? Like, do I feel like this? No. I know the truth about me, and that's all that you can stand on. That's all that matters. And, you know, what does God think about me? Like, am I making him happy? I'm not here to please humans. I'm not here to please the world. I'm here to live in my truth, be my best self, and whoever accepts it, accepts it. And whoever doesn't is just not a part of my path and my purpose, you know?
Amen. I love that. So many times I'm like, Erika, I tell myself this, stop trying to be seen by people who will never see you. Talk to the people who are waiting for you. And there's so much paralysis around taking action on our dreams, sharing things that are important to us because we're like, what will people think? Our innate human machinery is like, be safe, be safe. But if you take risks, you're out of that safety zone. So all the anxiety, all those nervous system, beautiful systems we have are going to start going off like alarms. But last year, my hubby, I forget who said this, but he goes, you just need to remember the 4 SWs. It's like some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting.
Yeah.
Someone is waiting what you have to share in your journey. So yeah, I just think that's really beautiful. How much of it, like before you went through, before, by the way, in the first economy crash in '09, my family personally, we lost a house, a business overnight. My mom joined a voluntary homelessness, and it was hard for me to accept at the time, but I got through it. I survived it by being really nice and sweet, and I kind of just smiled while everything was being taken. And as a result, these people who were foreclosing the home and stuff, they rewarded that. They were like, you're so much less trouble than your parents. You take all the time you need to pack up. And
Wow.
I think that I kept thinking, the nicer I am, the more that I put on this vase, no matter what's happening to me, the more I'll be rewarded. But in reality, with mental health, a lot of the time, that's one way you survived something really big, but it doesn't mean that that's what's going to serve you in your day-to-day life. So I had to get really acquainted with that this year because there's this people pleasing that we tend to gravitate to. But I know, girl, you have set boundaries. You're like, you have set the boundaries, said the no's, committed to serving yourself and a higher power on your journey. How has people pleasing been a component in your life? Are you still overcoming that?
Yeah, I was a people pleaser, like on a scale of 1 to 10. I used to be a 10. Now I'm like a 5. Like, you know, still a nice person. I still like to cater to people's emotions, but I put myself first. If I'm not happy, if I'm not at peace, if I'm not comfortable, how can I truly make a logical, right decision? How can I truly be my best self day to day? How can I truly, help the people around me? No, like if I don't feel comfortable doing it, if I don't want to do it, if I don't want to go, if I don't want to, I absolutely say no.
Uh,
I
People are relating. Who else can relate? Drop it right here. Yeah.
no is a peace of mind. It's not being mean. I used to think it was being mean, or I was walking on eggshells. Okay, well, I have to do this. I have to. You absolutely do not have to for your peace of mind. There is nothing in this world that is worth your peace. I would trade $1 million for a peace of mind, literally. And that is not, just a saying or like a little cliche or something that like I'm trying to make an analogy or a comparison. 100%. The money in my account, I would strip it all away. If I had to choose money or a peace of mind, I would have a peace of mind, because there's people that are billionaires that are committing suicide.
Yeah.
That are under bridges that are perfectly fine because they have a peace of mind. So you want peace, you want inner peace, and if saying no is going to give you your peace, then you have to say no.
Totally. God, it's funny. This is a little funny, but when my mom did choose voluntary homelessness, girl, it's so crazy you just said that. I kid you not. She's living like under an overpass through my college years, but more free than she's ever felt in her life. It's drastic. It's like a soap opera moment, but I did pay attention to all the people around me with the materialism, but feeling like they were pulled a million directions and trying to deliver for other people instead of delivering for themselves.
Yep.
I think the other thing is I learned how to be a friend, people pleasing, because I remember having almost a breakdown because I said so many yeses, so many bending over backward for everyone, but I was last on the list.
Yeah.
And put myself, oh, only me. I just wanted to do this today. And I would put it at the bottom of the list and never get to it. And instead, it's been no, where am I first? And I've been the friend, tried to be the friend to other people to say what's good for me, babe, is what's good for you.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be in a relationship where I'm pressuring somebody and it's outside of their highest good. I think that's one of the things I've learned. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. I'm on my personal phone. We switched before this. I'm gonna grab a charger to make sure I'm solid. But I know a lot of people are dropping some comments below, and what I kind of want to know is what are the tangible things you implemented? I think prayer might be one for you, but some of the tangible things you added to the breakdown. I call it the breakdown toolkit. When you're breaking down, you feel overwhelmed or depressed, what are the things you go to? And I'm just gonna grab my
First,
charger.
I think everybody is different. Whether it's affirmations, training your mindset is totally important. Training your mind to be positive. For every negative that I think of, I recite at least 3 or 4 affirmations after that. Keeping your mind positive, journaling, writing down my thoughts. And I'm still figuring out the kinks. Like I need to journal every day. I'm still trying new stuff. You have to figure out what works for you and what gives you that release. Working out, my mood has completely evolved for the better. Like I used to be very moody. I'm still working on that. Like stress, when I get stressed, I'm moody. I'm, hey, what's up? Hey, what do you need? Like very just like get to the point. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be around anybody. Working out has helped me so much.
So exercise physically.
Yeah, physical exercise, like releasing that stress in that way. Like I said, reciting affirmations, exercise, and journaling.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It's funny. Sometimes I find affirmations and I'm like, I love affirming my vision. I love affirming what I want to create in the world because I think words, literally, you're stepping into the words you're saying. You're creating your reality before any action's taken. You're speaking them. So when you were in Cancel Nation and there was just tons of opinions flying at you, did you put on those affirmations? Did you write what you were committed to every single day? Like, is that one of the things that you
You know what's crazy? During that moment, I'm going to tell the truth. I didn't do that. I knew it was just a moment. Like, I didn't let it consume me. Of course, I felt it. I was sad. I cried. I was upset. I allowed myself to feel those feelings, but I knew it was a moment. Just like everything else in my past that I got through, I was going to get through this. No matter how uncomfortable it felt, it was a moment. It didn't classify my future, my destiny, my purpose. I know no matter what, God has a purpose for my life. And when you keep your eye on your purpose, no outside forces matter. It was a moment. And half the people that were canceling me, you don't know me. We're basing it off of opinions, not facts. And the only thing that matters in this world is the truth. And the truth is facts. You know,
Girl.
that's it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think one of the things too is that being so authentic and raw and sharing like, yo, this is what I'm going through with your audience.
Yeah.
No matter what, the people who love you, who already see you, they're going to continue to love you and see you because that's what you're putting out. And I feel like sharing is a big part of that. Just sharing what you're going through transparently, because we've all been, who can relate, at the table and it's like, how's it going? Oh, well, how are you? And inside, you're like, I had a breakdown this morning.
Oh,
I did
right
ugly
here.
last night. I did. And it's funny because what I've taken on that's really helped is a pause in response to how are you in the right settings. I'm like, yeah, I had some contrast happen yesterday. I don't really like, I'm big on labels. I don't label things bad. I don't label things unfortunate. I say it's contrast to what I want. Um, and I share that, and all of a sudden I've shared the truth, so I don't feel like I'm hiding anything. The
Yeah,
imposter syndrome tends to fade, so that's been a really good one for me.
that's good.
So yeah, so before we bring our beautiful Bea on, who's an expert joining us today, I wanted to dive in a little bit. I know I've really gone through this, and as I've shared it this year, all these amazing young women who are Latinas in the United States are like, I have had this same experience, but I wanted to talk on a cultural front about how that may affect our mental health. I'm a Latina, I'm first generation Mexican here in the US, and I grew up with a narrative that being Mexican is dirty. I was I felt lucky that I was white passing and that I would skip the terms like beaners being tossed around in as early as second grade. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I started understanding that Mexican is iconic,
Mhm.
claiming heritage. Hispanic is beautiful. And now all of a sudden, my self image is repeating those things. But before, it was really tough to be feeling like I needed to
Yeah.
blend in so much with, the more professional crowds to make sure that they didn't know something about me.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think, yes, amen. I love it. I think it's important to share, um, like we're born and we don't ask for some of these things that aren't necessarily experiences, but there's predetermined stigmas that sometimes we live into. Have you had that experience at all?
I mean, I think a little bit, even with certain like roles that you get to audition for, um, you know, category that they'll put you in as like, the loud ghetto black girl or whatever, and you're so much more than that. Of course I can be that. And even the ghetto, that's a part of my culture too. Like being the loud ghetto black girl isn't bad. It's vibrant, it's honest, it's personality. It's instead of sitting in a corner being a little turtle, that black girl comes in the room and she dominates the room. She's fun, she's colorful, she's beautiful, but there's also I can do drama. I can do sad. I can do
Amen.
dramatic. I can do a thriller. It doesn't always have to be that character. So I think sometimes, the industry might put you in the box or the world might put you in a box, but you have to show them that you are more than just that. I might be that,
Yeah.
know, I can be that, but I can be other things too. Even with my careers, I'm not just a comedian. I'm not just an influencer. I'm, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own cosmetic line. Like you have all these other things. So I think people can classify you as what you classify yourself as. Whatever you want to be portrayed as, you walk into the world as that. And people have to respect you as that.
Yeah. Growing up, I remember crossing my fingers that brunettes I saw on TV were Mexican. And I wish that someone would have said, like, you know, Barbie's in the middle, but Teresa Barbie, she's Mexican. But I didn't really see her anywhere. So I became her. I always say I walk in as a classy, business savvy woman, and that is what my Mexican is. And
Yeah.
of there's a stigma of over sexualized Latina woman or the help. And it's funny because I didn't see me anywhere in that, so I had to just forge a new path. I think one of the things
Yeah.
that would help greatly is if we just realize that stigma is that's just this little box inside of every single culture, that
Literally.
every person is everything, and we come from so many different backgrounds. Anyway, that's beautiful. So I just thought we would touch on that. So y'all, I think I'm gonna add in our beautiful expert. What do we think, Bea?
Yeah.
She's a fellow Bea. Her name is Bea Arthur. She's an award-winning entrepreneur. She has a company called The Difference. It is therapy on demand, providing major mental health benefits.
Hey, beautiful.
Hey, happy Friday. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month.
Awesome. I'm just scrolling through some of these. What's up? So we're here with a professional psychotherapist, but you're not just that, you're an award-winning entrepreneur. And I'm really loving the therapy on demand portion of your business. It's called The Difference. And I've always joked we should all have therapists on hand all the
I feel
time.
the same way.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like that's becoming the reality. It's because of platforms like yours. So amazing. I would love to talk a little bit. Bea and I were talking about our dark moments, moments of darkness that we both experienced, and also people pleasing. We really found people pleasing isn't going to cut it our whole lives, because when we're faced with a time where we have to just advocate for ourselves, that's where the empowerment comes in. What do you find inside of that narrative in your work, and is it more prevalent with women? Yeah, we'd love to know.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to say both of y'all are, man, I'm relating to so many things. And I'm like, y'all don't even need me here. Y'all know the power of word, you know, the power of thoughts, you know, the power of practicing those words and thoughts. And just like, seriously, congratulations on like growing up. And the reason, honestly, and the reason I say growing up is because, you know, the truth about therapy, my life's work, I've been doing this for the last 10 years, has been getting people access to therapy. I think everybody should be able to have it. I think it should be affordable. I think therapists deserve to get paid fairly. But the truth is, even with all that said, therapy only works 50% of the time. And that's for two reasons. One, because you have to be the right partner for you. Therapists are not doctors to diagnose you. We're partners to help you understand your blind spots, see what's invisible to you, help you get over this challenge. And so if it's not the right fit, or if you don't like and trust that person, if they don't have the right insights for you at that time. But then number two is on the client, right? Like most of the time there's a conflict, and I love the way you phrased it as a contrast. There's a conflict in your energy with your relationship to your man, relationship to your work, your relationship to yourself that is no longer working for you. But because we hate change, we're scared to move on. So unless you're ready to change your mood or your circumstances, you will continue to experience conflict. And so that's the thing. Because women have been taught to behave, and let me get feminist really quick, in our society, let's just do it because it's Friday. But in our society, unfortunately, I do think sometimes men are raised to be kind of simple and selfish, right? But no society can survive like that. So as a result, women are raised to be caring and accommodating and complicated, and there's just a complete mismatch. But we're mostly taught to behave, and in our minds we tell ourselves to behave, not to take risks, not to advocate for ourselves, not to stand up for ourselves, not to stand up for other people, just to accommodate and make other people comfortable. So there is a lot of good girl conditioning. I don't know if y'all have read Playing Big by Tara Moore. Like, every woman entrepreneur, every woman who wants to do big things should read about it. But yeah, risking yourself, you end up keeping yourself small by keeping safe. And so that's where a lot of imposter syndrome, self-sabotaging habits, and holding yourself come back. And I'm so glad y'all didn't give in to those voices.
I love that. So it's funny because I would classify this conversation as type A speakers, type A, like super achievers.
Yeah.
And I think I've experienced, and B, please comment in, that sometimes when you're achieving inside of the mental health conversation, there's this relaxation that isn't taken, or a feeling that you're never there because the goals aren't always hit. Maybe you're, I don't know what it is, but do you find it to be that achieving personalities have this more frequently?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been in the startup space. I'm a therapist myself. I'm a business owner myself. So I definitely relate to the go, 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 the extra energy that it requires to be self-employed, because it's excess energy. So it can actually be a good thing. Some people talk about, for example, bipolar disorder, when people say, oh, I'm moody. And I've worked with a lot of like big time media and tech people as a therapist and coach. I have never met a top of the chart successful person who wasn't at least ADD, OCD, or bipolar, if not straight up sociopathic, period. Just because
that's so good to know.
And you'll start to notice it, you know, like you'll be like, oh, that guy was a little intense, or oh, that's because you do need that extra intensity, because most humans, because you want to survive, have a very low risk tolerance, right? And if you just have that extra thing that just cannot rest until a certain thing is achieved, until you see a certain vision, they used to call that crazy, because you could see something that nobody else could. So the flip side of that, though, is you're also hard on yourself, right? You can create this thing that you can see nobody else sees, and you can believe it, and it seems madness. The flip side of that is if you don't achieve it, you're right, your happiness becomes a moving target. Your happiness becomes directly tied to achieving this thing. And who are you when that thing goes away? You know, Simone, I know when you were saying last year, you felt like your character was questioned and everything else didn't matter, but what you held on to was that. And but you rightly did not give that power over to anybody else, because you know the woman that you are. And so that's the thing. Women are very emotional. We really have to readjust that. It's a good thing. It moves us. That's actually what emotion means. Motare, that which moves you. You know, and so, but rather than giving it into other things, giving it into social, giving into the culture of comparison, really retain that energy for yourself. I practice compassionate detachment, you know, because like my energy is very valuable. It's like oil, it's finite. It's very expensive, you know, and if I give it over to you, what's left for me? So that's really a retraining of the mind, just to not give into everything you see, because like you said, it's past. All troubles are temporary, and you need to remain unchanged at the end of it.
I love that. Like, absolutely. Your time is gold. Time is money. Yeah, I find that when if I get overstressed or finding that something is inside of my perfectionism not completely right, after an hour, it's like, I almost call it sobering up, because you go to this place and you give all your energy, and it's almost, it feels like wasted time afterward. I don't know if you're the same thing, B. So I have a question, B. Simone, I've got two B's. I know two B's with me. How have you been on comparison in your career journey? Comparing yourself to what you see, who's doing what?
Yeah, honestly, I think when you focus on your purpose, when you find your purpose, a lot of people out there still don't know what their purpose is. I think that's absolutely fine, as long as you're on a journey to find it. I believe everybody has a specific purpose and destiny. What so-and-so's job is not my job. So what their road that they're taking is not mine. So once you find your purpose and you focus on that, it's so much easier to not compare yourself to other people. You know, I came up, wasn't doing stand-up. I was online with internet comedian, Jess Hilarious, Pretty V, all these other girls. I was like, they do stand-up. Like, instead of being like, damn, like I was like, y'all, that's cool. That, like, I want to come to your show me how to do this shit, you know, excuse my language. But instead of shying away from people that you want to be like, learn from them. Don't be jealous of them. let them take you under their wing and learn from them instead of being like, man, F them, I could do that better. No, they're bomb. That's lit. I want to, girl, teach me how to do it. Let me know what I can do. You know, and I get they say, you know, people are like, who do you look up to in the stand-up industry? I was like, I wasn't that into stand-up. I looked to my peers that were on social media. That's hilarious. Pretty B. They expect me to say legends like, of course, Monique, Queen Latifah, all these women that have been doing stand-up for decades. But I really learned from my peers. I reached out to them, got help from them instead of hating on their success. And I think that's the easiest way to do it.
It is, and it puts you in such an abundant space to, when you're feeling abundant, like there's enough for everyone, what you'll attract is more things to bring you that abundant feeling. At night, I have a blessings book, and it's just all the people that I wish unlimited blessings for, and I put myself in it. But it's funny because Bea Arthur, what do you think, and in your experience, have you found anything that is causing women, or, you know, everyone, but for this purposes, 3 fabulous women, to err on the side of envy or comparison over that undying support for our peers?
Yeah, it depends on how you were raised and how you came up, and again, how you were programmed, right? Because again, if we're emotional, we are programmable. And so I love that both of you spend time programming yourselves. Do not give your narrative away, your power away to anything outside of your spirit. So I think that, because I was the same way, B. Simone, like I came up in the New York founder community. People always say in corporate, women are catty, we're competitive. Not on this side. That has not my experience, like, and at least in New York, I think because I'm like in the 2012 2013 vintage, like the Skim and the muse of like startup founders, and I think because that was pre Me Too, we would be like, listen, don't take a meeting with that person, that person's going to waste your time. There was this kind of, especially since we had different businesses, we weren't in direct competition with each other. However, to your point, I accept all bad quote unquote emotions. As a therapist, I know that emotions have information for you. You know, and so for when people put on toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing to kind of avoid that stuff, this is a huge blind spot. You know what I mean? And like, you choose these challenges to learn something. So for me, like so jealousy has information for you. And I actually stopped being envious of women when I was 27. There was this girl that came in my job and I was like, wow, she's so pretty. She's so tall and she's smart. You know, they're pretty and smart and kind. I was like, I can't win. I can't beat this bitch. But I was like, I remember starting to think, you know, I hope her man realizes how good he has it, you know, and I started being like, man, I would be, if I was her boyfriend, I would do this, I would be that. And justifying that jealousy showed me that I admired her. There were things about her and the way she carried herself. And if I can recognize that in her, it must be in me too.
Yeah, no, that's real
mirror, right? She's meant to show me something about myself. And just like, and because it's wasted energy, like being jealous of somebody, but there's something beneath that feeling, you know? And so I always try to get really specific on my language. Like if I have a strong reaction to something, I say it's good, or I don't say good or bad. I say it's important, right? On a subconscious level, I'm like, that's weird. That's interesting. And so what does that information have for me? And I try to learn from it.
Yeah. How are these feelings serving me? Or if, like last week, I had this bout of feeling so depressed, and I realized I was living in a 10 years ago when I had to scrap with no money in my pocket, and I woke up in that same reality, and I didn't say this is bad. I said, wow, oh my gosh, I think it's coming up because it needs to be let go. I think it's ready to be released, and I get excited when my emotions show me what needs to happen next. So fabulous. I think we're both wondering, because Simone, me, I would say we're huge manifestation queens. We believe that our thoughts directly influence what opportunities come to us, how we get to live the quality of our lives. Good thoughts attract naturally good things and experiences. Simone, tell me, do you think that sometimes I feel like it's classified as woo-woo, and sometimes I don't feel that the therapy community talks about manifestation as much. So I'm just curious to know where you might land on that, or if they are talking about it.
Was that
Bea Arthur?
Or Bea Arthur?
So Simone, if you have anything to add on the manifestation front, but Bea Arthur, how do you feel about law of attraction and good thoughts, good things, that correlation?
You can go ahead, Bea Arthur first.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I had my spiritual awakening, which I say your awakening is like when you really rock bottom. I think rock bottom is a beautiful place to build. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cleared out of stuff. You can see so much more now that you couldn't before. And so that would happen in 2019, and things got progressively worse before, because I had to commit to the new identity, right? And just like you're saying, you can't take that stuff with you where you're going, you know. So when you re-identify with old things or things that make you wince or whatever, that's past, you know, and you're past that, right? So that's the whole point of leveling up. But it's interesting because, you know, technically it's a social science, but I've like into crystals. You know, I did ayahuasca. I'm like a really proud pothead. Like I'm really into like shrooms and all that stuff, because there's so many different kinds of healing. I really hate that we limit ourselves as mental health practitioners and say the only answer is medication or meditation.
And
I'm
Beautiful.
a super anxious person. I can't meditate, you know, like, so like I'll masturbate, I'll smoke weed, I'll hug trees, I'll kick it with my friends. You know, there's so many ways that, like, especially coming out of Corona, that we have to overdose on joy. We have to feed ourselves back to get that balance that we're seeking. So I do think sometimes I feel a little bit silly about it, you know, because, you know, like, I feel like it's like my first day at like super conscious school and I don't know nobody. I don't know the language. I'm like, do you want to see my crystals? You know, but I do think there is something about energy matching and frequently. We used to call it anger management. Turns out that was a little bit racist, because anger is a form of communication and only one default culture said that was not an appropriate way to express your emotions.
Oh,
Anger
wow.
is a really great and useful teacher. So is pain, you know, and that's why our cultures, Black and brown cultures, really thrive. Anger reveals what you're dedicated to. That's
wow.
why instinctively you get defensive, right? You're ready to fight for something. And even when couples are yelling, you know, like I used to do a lot of couples counseling, and, you know, they would like feel so ashamed about it. And it's like, even like if you look at it objectively, people who yell usually feel apart from each other. And that's why they're young, you know, or you're trying to keep something away from you. So with manifesting, you, of course, like you can match anything in your mind to anything in your reality. And I do think believe and seek and you shall find. You can look back at your life and your choices unconsciously or consciously that have got you to where you are. So of course manifestation is real. Like you put things in action, anything can be moved. And that's the whole point of life. Life is change. Every single thing that has happened in your life happened because something changed. So you might as well be an active part of it. Some people will let things change them, you know, but like you might as well be an active part of it because it's happening all the time. So I really believe in like putting your mind and your energy where you want your life to go.
Good
Preach.
work.
Preach. Anything to add on, P?
I love her examples. I'm like, damn, she's being open as hell. I love that.
Oh,
But
I'll just put it out there.
earlier, like I believe I'm spiritual, so I believe in the power of the tongue, and I've manifested some not so great things in my life just by thinking it and being like, damn, like I'm nervous about this. I'm nervous about this. What if this? What if this? What if this? What if this? It's like, okay, that's what it's gonna be. You done something that you might not have wanted, you know? So I think once you control your mind, change your mindset, change your life. When your mindset shifts, and I learned that so much with this fitness journey I'm on, it is a mindset change.
Yes.
When your mind changes, everything else will follow. The career, the money, the physique, all of that. With the self-discipline, the self-awareness, the consistency, the control, all of that is your mind. Once that changes, everything else will fall into place. So I totally believe in manifestation. You know, I'd say I'm the manifest queen because everything I say out of my mouth literally flourishes and happens, you know. So history is just going to repeat itself. You can manifest good or bad. So that's one of the reasons why controlling your mindset is so important, because whatever you think, you're going to speak. And energy, it doesn't go away. It's transferred. So it's already out there. It's not just going to dissolve. It's out there. Your words, your thoughts, you know. So manifestation is like something I truly believe in.
Me too. I think three of us. So yeah, that's beautiful. I love getting that in here because when I discovered that is when my life started to change. I had
believe in your power. You're really
$17 name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was discovered something that someone said, which was, hey, if you speak it and think it, but truly commit, it might appear. And I'm like, so no matter what I saw, I just started believing the other direction and then started seeing. Sweet. I know I could talk about this all day. As a wrap, would you, for everyone here watching, would we go around and share 3 resources that you personally have in your mental health toolkit or mental health routine that's really helped you?
I do something. I'm always honest. I'm not as consistent as I should be. In 2017, I took a class on the TM technique of meditation. That's one technique that works for me. Like Bea was saying earlier, your mind just goes everywhere. It's a lot. Like meditation is very hard, and you have to dedicate time to get in the habit to see if it even works for you and you like it. But I love it. Research the TM technique of meditation. It's one that has worked for me out of numerous ones. Like I said, I journal. I do a daily journal. I try to daily journal, write down if I'm feeling something. And I do daily devotions. So that helps me a lot. Start your day with something positive. Oh, and you guys, this sounds crazy, but I used to be like, okay, so it sounds crazy, but I do it. Getting out of the same day routine. I would wake up instantly, feel sluggish, not like, you know how kids wake up and they're ready to just go outside and play? I envied not having that feeling. Like, why am I not waking up with excitement to be alive? Like, that bothered me. So force myself, like if I woke up on a day where I'm like, blah, like I would force myself to smile. I have a mirror on my wall. I would look in the mirror and I would jump out of the bed and like do it a different way. Get up a different way. Get out of your same routine. If you do the same thing every single day, you're going to get the same damn result. Force yourself to be happy. If it starts with smiling, you don't feel happy, smile. Like literally, it'll send endorphins to your brain and you'll be like, I need to be happy right now. So I think like forcing myself to do fun stuff helped me change my mood a lot.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. I really lead with joy as well. I really practice true self-care. When I say true self-care, a lot of people think it's, like shopping or bubble baths. No, self-care is like caring for yourself in your exact love language, in your exact love. So for some people, think of the person that you love the most, who looks out for you the most, who can always calm you down and get you clarity and get you comfort. And maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a partner. Like for me, I'm a real mama's girl, so I really love to be like my mom. No matter what I want, will be like, stop doing that, get out of that relationship. She looks out for me and she will allow me to break down. And I allow all bad feelings. I don't try to push them away because again, I think it has to run its course, and I'm always better on the other side of it. I don't give much power. I practice compassionate detachment. Observe, don't absorb. And I just really give myself distance from pain. I'm not angry. I'm experiencing anger right now.
Yeah.
And I really own I really program myself so I can retain my power. I really do try to keep it for myself. I really like spending time by myself. Like that's where I get joy. But we are social animals. We're better and less stressed when we spend time with people we like and enjoy. The key words is like and enjoy. A lot of people are hanging out with people because they don't like being alone. That will take away from your energy. So I like spending time with people I love, enjoy, and admire. All of my friends are people that I admire. Even if we're not in this, there's always something I really look up to, and it gives me like a calming feeling. And also they've done studies about this touch. 800 of Zola, because it gives you oxytocin, like a very calming thing. It literally is the natural antidote for cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So obviously moving your body as well. I try and get a lot of sleep just because it's good for your brain health. Moving your body, so movement, music. There's so many things.
All the things.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I'm so grateful we could hop on here today, and not just with the three of us, but for a lot of other people. Because hearing it makes you feel so much less alone. My routines to add, so beautiful. I'm here with y'all today because I practice TM, Transcendental Meditation, that Bea Simone just mentioned. And then my big one is creating a to-be list, because we are all about our to-do lists and our action items, but daily, almost without fail, I create who I'm gonna be taking the action. This morning, I am being love, joy, and freedom. And when I'm out of that, at least that list reminds me who I committed to being, not just what I committed to doing for today. Yeah, so it's one that I really loved. Thank you so much. Guys, if you enjoyed this, again, every single day in May, there's a conversation around mental health. Let's keep each other in the conversation, keep each other talking. B&B, it's been real. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, guys.